Mic check 1 2 1 2.
My sweet waifu.
Is that you?
One way or another.
Mic check. Mic check. Waifu. Mr. Teliano, is that you?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling well. How are you?
It's good. It's real good. I had a great day at work.
It's fantastic.
Finished some great anime.
Yeah. Finish some not so great anime.
About. That's subjective. That's up to you, brother.
All right. Well, this is episode 41 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, is brought to you by Loot Complex. Huge announcement. Sadly, Loot Complex is temporarily shutting down for a couple of months until this whole Corona thing pass over. They're hoping to open back up before Fanime, if Fanime is still going on as well. So if you're interested in some Loot Complex gear, just hang tight. It'll be open back up relatively soon. And when it does open back up, you can remember to always use that waifu code at checkout to save on some funds. And thank you so much to our Patreon producers, Monique Williams, Connor, and D Prince. Thank y'all so much for supporting the show. We love y'all so very much. It means everything in the world to us that you keep the lights on, including the rest of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for supporting us. Now, this is a loaded show. And as always, it's brought to you by I'm at Polo Born Fly, and that's at King Teliano. Today, we're going to do something extremely thick, I guess. We laying on
with 2 C's and a Q.
We laying out the review game. As you guys know, we have an official Mic Check Waifu review skill that I quite enjoy very much. The review skill is kind of like perfect for the way we watch our anime and the way we dive into it. So this episode is dedicated to reviewing 3 particular anime. And as always, on the second half of the show, we're going to do our My Hero talk. So first and foremost, our review skill goes like this. And that's going to be you, Tel, because you know you got that.
All right. So, Paul already said we're reviewing some anime today. Our review scale, 3 of them. Our review scale goes pacing, story, animation, sound design, and the characters. So those are kind of like our favorite topics in anime or in the anime that we watch. And that's kind of what we want to, lean towards when we go to how we gonna rate this anime, if it's good to us or not.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start with the first one we're going to rate, or how you want to do this?
Yeah, so to go into a little bit more details, what we do is we do a 20-point scale. So it's 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, all the way up to 10. That's a 20-point scale. We do that 20-point scale for each category that Tel just listed off, and we take each of our averages of those scores, and then we put those together to make one overall Mic Check Waifu scale or score. Sorry. Yeah. So if that makes sense, I'm gonna clarify one more time. 20-point scale. We rate by those categories: story, pacing, character, sound. What else? I always feel like I'm missing something.
Pacing, story, animation, sound design, and characters.
Yes, those 5 categories. 20-point scale. We take our averages and then we average. Our average is together to get one score.
We do give you the average of what each person scored. So for instance, last time we rated Clannad, Polo gave Clannad a 9.9 and I gave it a 9.7, putting Clannad at one of our highest rated anime at 9.8.
So just to give you guys some more backstory, we really do want you guys to go watch those or listen to those episodes. All of those episodes are watchable on YouTube for all of our audiences. So go check those out. But here's our review, our rated anime, starting from the bottom up. So at number 8, we got Dr. Stone with a 7.8. At number 7, we got Erased at 8.75. At number 6 is Demon Slayer at 8.8. Number 5 is Vinland Saga at 9.25. Number 4 is Promised Neverland at 9.3. Number 3 is Fire Force at 9.35. And I can guarantee you sound design was the reason why I edged out Promised Neverland. At number 2 is Clannad at 9.8. And then number 1 is our top rated anime, Astro Lost in Space, out of 10. So go back and listen to those episodes to get our full thoughts. I mean, we go deep. We break down characters, why we love it, you know, from those categories we mentioned earlier on in the show. So with this review, okay, so the first anime, or not the first anime, but these are the 3 anime we're reviewing. Beastars, okay, Demon Lord Retry, which is why, and then and what's the third one? Oh, fucking Darwin's Game.
Yeah, hype of the season, right, Polo?
Yes,
come on, brother.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, so here we go. Which you want to start off with?
I think we should do let's start off with Beastars.
Okay.
And then let's do Demon Lord Retry second. I like the order you did everything in.
Okay.
Because we doing something special for Demon Lord Retry. We'll talk about that when we get there. I think we already said something about it before, but we'll elaborate more on it when we get to that point.
Awesome. So first things first, Beastars. Tell literally just finished it not 3 minutes ago. No, about 10 minutes ago. All right. Overall thoughts.
First of all, it's very shocking. Beastars is an anime that, like, low key, I think I'm about to slide into my top 5.
Holy shit. Was not expecting that. It's so fucking good, bro. That
shit blew my mind.
It's so crazy that we had the same exact reaction, because after I was done watching it, I'm sitting here just like, my entire mind, all it could do was think. Like, just this. I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead and finish. What's your thoughts? Sorry.
I'm still thinking. I'm still thinking. Like, so that ending where, like, first of all,
spoilers for these, by the way.
Rui basically gave itself. So I do want to talk about, like, Rui gave itself at the end, or at the second to last episode, saying, you know, devour me. He wouldn't want to leave anything behind, you know, because he saved what he loved. But he knows that woman is basically going to be with, you know, our main character now.
Legoshi.
Yeah. And it just kind of like, so that was the most bittersweet. Like, I was like, that was dope that he came in clutch at that moment. Like, because I was thinking it was gonna be old panda dude.
True, same.
But it was Rui. Rui came through, like, after all that bullshit he did, and it's like, I want to know kind of like what's going through his mind. Like, did he feel like he couldn't live with himself after, you know, he fought for all this justice,
right? But
in the end, he ended up becoming what he didn't want to be, right? Is that what it was? And, like, he is fighting so hard to be a predator. I loved how he kind of called out Legoshi on this shit. It was like, yo, you're a wolf, bro. Like, use that power, you know? And it's like, you can act like a wolf, but not be a fucking, you can act like a wolf, but not act like a wolf. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to eat meat, don't eat meat, but you can be a fucking wolf, bro. You're a wolf. That's what you are. And, like, to me, that kind of hit home, because it's like, sometimes as people, we limit ourselves regardless of what we truly are, right?
Yeah.
We could be a star, but we limit ourselves because we don't want to outshine others or let our reality, you know, be almost destructive to others. It's like, it made me feel like people who really shine need to let themselves shine, you know, regardless of what's around you.
Right. And
I thought that was like, I mean, that was just my interpretation of it. There could be 1,000 different interpretations of it. It's just, to me, it was amazing. Like, the whole thing was amazing.
Bro, that's what makes the fucking show so great, because the interpretations that you could take from each and every scene, the way they dissect their own thought processes, every character, not just one character, every character just dissects their thoughts, and they do it so well, man. They do it so well with this storytelling. It's by far some of my favorite I've seen in a long time, especially with its double entendres, and it's I don't know, it's so relevant, I guess is the term, but not relevant, right? Because this is a world about furries basically, but you don't even it's like animals. Yeah, it's animals. It's the animal world brought to life like the human world, and when you put it in perspective, it's pretty much the same exact fucking thing. Look at the different types of animals as races, if you will. You know what I'm saying? You can just you could just interject so many pieces of the show into real life that it's
and like like for instance, kind of like to go off what I was saying, like the mayor, right?
Yeah.
He removed his fangs.
Yeah.
You know, and got him replaced so that he didn't have to seem so frightening.
Right.
And it's like, yo, to me, like a lion removing his fangs, defanging himself, it's the same as like when we get a cat, you declaw your cat. Like you're removing what makes that thing initially dangerous. Even though he has a super strong jaw.
Yeah.
You know, he has a super strong jaw that can crush bone. Like you removed his the knives in his mouth, right? Yeah. So he was saying like he basically let himself become neutered and de-lethalized himself in order to basically kind of bring everyone together.
Yeah.
But even in that, like, you know, we saw that he was losing his sense of justice was more or less covering up what was really going on, right? Like he was trying to come off as not being a carnivore while covering up what carnivores were doing.
Yeah.
And that's not as good. That's just as bad. Like you might as well be out there eating them yourself if you're doing that. You're just trying to make it look good. You're just being the face of the operation and making it clean. But really, it's just as dirty as it's always been.
You know what's so great about Beastars and its storytelling? What's so great about Beastars and its storytelling is the fact that the main part of the story, we still have no fucking clue about. We don't have any idea who killed the alpaca still to this fucking day. We don't know. It kind of looked like a bear. It kind of looked like a lion in the opening scene, but you have no fucking clue. You don't have a clue. And that's what's so beautiful, because this story, it played out off of that situation. It played off that situation and just continued and progressed forward without even indicating. They threw little hints and saying like, we still don't know who did this to the alpaca, blah, 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 blah. But it still was its own, like, just confined story that we get next year, and I'm so excited about.
And you know what was funny?
What?
Is that to me, it seemed like they pointed very heavy-handedly at Legoshi or Rui. Like one of them did it, right? And like I could have seen it being Rui as him trying to be that dominant figure in the beginning.
Yeah.
But as the story progressed, it was like, that's not Rui at all. He wouldn't have killed him, right?
Right.
Like Rui wasn't pushed to the edge until the very end.
They made it
Legoshi,
yeah, they make it seem
he
like
had his instincts, you know, like his instincts could have took over and he would have never even known, like, until the very end. And it was like,
but come to find out it wasn't him either.
It couldn't have been Legoshi.
Yep. So, I mean, it's just, oh man, the romance is wonderful.
So I went into this thing, this is going to be an action anime, and bro, I was shocked, bro.
Told you, bro. It blew me away.
This is that slice of life I needed.
Yes, dude. If y'all haven't watched Beastars, watch it, man. I mean, we just spoiled the hell out of it for you. Sorry. But this, I mean, we said it earlier what this was about. But it's so fucking good, man. It's the storytelling. It makes it so hard for anime to have such terrible storytelling. Like on Twitter, somebody mentioned, you know, watch The Ones Within. And I'm just like thinking to myself, yeah, Primus, yeah, the homie.
Where we normally agree with Primus. We normally agree with you, bro.
We normally do. But we cannot on this one. The Ones Within, there's no excuse for how bad that storytelling turned out to be. Yes, the characters are pretty good. It had
opportunities. Yes. It had opportunities after opportunity after opportunity.
Exactly. The characters are great. But if the characters aren't there to capitalize with the story, the show doesn't hold up. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you got shows like, you can have a show like Beastars where the animation is not my favorite. And we're going to get into that when we start breaking down a review. But the show itself fucking makes up for all of it. Like all of it. The storytelling is wonderful. Just wonderful. All right, let's start breaking this down. Now, what topic do we start off with Beastars?
Straight up, let's go with. I mean, we just talked a lot about story, so let's wait on story. We just divulged so much of that.
Yeah.
Let's start with pacing.
So the pacing of the show, there's no fucking way I can watch this week to week. I'm gonna just say that now. It does that thing where the cliffhangers are tasteful. The story beats are well constructed. Like each episode is constructed well. as far as how long, you know, and what they show during an episode. I would say the pacing I give only because I didn't like, what was it? I forget. It's the I think it's no, I like that too. It's the festival part.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like
At
that
the
so
end?
much. No.
Or just like how when they transition to the festival
When I
part.
transitioned to the festival part, that kind of drug a little bit, which kind of turned me off a little bit. But I'll have to give it an 8.5. Yeah, it's a little slow in some parts.
Yeah. So for me, the pacing was like damn near perfect. Like, I felt like the story progressions, the beats, and the moments were almost like if you had a rhythm, they were there. Yeah. Like they was hitting the beat every time. It felt like for me, the surprises that happened were all like on point. It just seemed like
it's more
to me,
story though, right?
I mean, it's just more like how they presented the surprise, right? Like if I'm giving you a surprise and I present it like an episode too early, like that's poor storytelling and poor pacing. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say to me the pacing was a 9.5.
Okay.
The only part I could agree on was like the festival part, like when they're building stuff for the festival. Yeah. But even that, to me, it was more like
it started to crawl for some reason.
It was more like getting into the outside world where they were showing us like what was going on in the outside world, because that's when we got I guess story beats on like Rui and his life. So to me, that was a 9.5 on
I respect it.
On the story, on pacing. Now, you said you didn't like the animation, really.
No.
I want to say, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I think the animation's a 10.
Ew.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Right? So like, artistically, to me, I actually enjoyed 100% what it actually looked like, but it wasn't just like what it looks like. It was like the moments when things got super intense, like when he was getting ready to like when he was holding her the second time, and like you could see him thinking in his head. Right. And instead of them, they would split the screen and say, this is Haru and this is Legoshi.
Yeah,
and
they use the mirror and shit.
And then they would go even further and go like a second screen on top of Legoshi, where it's him like in a different like view looking at him, and then her in another view looking at her, and they're like thinking, and there's like the intensity of the pressure going around with the animation is just like, to me, it felt amazing. And then like the transitions, even in the beginning when we think he's getting ready to eat Haru, like that whole intensity of the animation, the way it shifted from like this 3D to like this super dark, intense 2D, to me, I loved every bit of it. Like, I love this animation. It was super unique, in my opinion. And I think like even like the intro where they went from like that stop motion, almost like the super cottony look, to like the actual show itself switching from 3D to 2D, and how smooth it was. Because I watched the anime. We watched the anime. We finished this anime. That even felt like the frames were missing. But this one, I mean, to me, it just felt like super smooth, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I am nowhere near close to that. So the best part about the show, okay, was the beats you mentioned. They have those moments to where it does look great, and it's mostly when it's transitioning to the 2D style for the dramatic effect. Now, I will say this: the motion of it looked like good, wasn't great. Again, I said something about this on the on last week's episode. The fucking show is shot in like 15 to 16 fucking frames per second, and that frustrates the hell out of me, because if it's shot in just the typical, Hollywood 24 frames per second, if it's shot in 24 frames per second, that smooth movement that you can see when they're like the way when she's dancing and she kicks her leg up, the way it moves, if it's moving smoother instead of that kind of like low frame rate ass movement, it would look so much better. Like, it's not even just the art style isn't bad. The animation itself is awful because of that, because of the low frame rate. The low frame rate had me, I did not want to watch it at first because of that frame rate. It was frustrating the hell out of me, especially coming from, 60 frame per second game plan, and it looks like a game. So when something looks like a game and it's running literally 15, 16 frames per second, it really throws you off. It throws you for a loop. It looks like an old style. Oh my God, back in the day when they used to do those Final Fantasy movies like this, and they used to, the frame rate was always so low because just rendering that much 3D data was so hard. That's what this looked like. It had trouble running. It was like playing a game, a PlayStation 4 game on a E-Machine's computer. And I could not stand that shit. But like I said, their motions, if it was just 24 frames per second, and if it was moving smooth and not stuttering every fucking step of the way, I would have enjoyed the hell out of it. I would have to say this is definitely going to be down to a 6.5 for me with animation. Like, but they do have such pretty moments. Like sometimes when like sad to say, when they were bullying our girl, and they like threw her down, and they like they hit the flowers out of her hand. The way that looked was wonderful. But then like they would go to something else, and they just start that choppy movement that just didn't sit right with me. But good news is though, the good news is once you watch the show and your eyes adjust to what you're looking at, you start to not even realize it, which is like, I guess, the benefit of it. But if I'm looking at this objectively, it looked like awful because it looked like that throughout the entire show, in my personal opinion. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I noticed some low frame rates on some other shows, but this one I didn't at all.
What?
Yeah,
I don't know how.
And I know that's what I'm surprised about, because like I literally noticed some low frame rates, and I was like, nah, that's not gonna cut it. And on this one, like I ain't see any, and I don't know.
It was intentional.
If our TVs are different.
No.
But I was like, yeah, bro. But they probably did it intentionally because of, their art style or whatever. Yeah. They probably, I mean, that's a hard art style to run at high resolution and high frame rates. But I mean, they definitely could have done it.
Yeah, no, it's because I think it even had the 4K option on my Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like a djinn. It reminds me of a djinn. A djinn runs like that too. And once you watch it for a while, you just don't even pay no attention.
Yeah. It might have been that way. I'm trying to figure out if this is one of the ones I saw that low frame rate on. If you say it is, I had to, and I just got used to it.
You got used to it. You get used to it. Like I said, after 3 episodes, I'm like, okay, it's whatever. I'm used to it. Now
I watched like the first 6 episodes in like one day, so I probably got used to it super fast.
I was so captivated.
Yeah. I'm sorry, animation's still a 10 for me.
I hear you.
I loved all of that.
It's just your style. You like that style, and I don't.
You know how I am though about artistic expression though. I love something that's different and experimental.
Definitely different.
It was that to me. That was like my shit. They was in a bag to me. I was like, let's go. Like to me, it just felt. It was so different. But yeah. All right.
You're right.
So, let's go to sound design.
Oh man. I guess it's you.
Nah, I went with animation first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so sound design, I don't remember a lot about it musically, to be honest. Musically, it's just gone from my brain. But sonically, as far as the voice acting, both subbed and dub, are incredible. They did an extremely great job with the casting. I don't know who casted it, because I know this came to Netflix after it was already out for a while somewhere else, and it was dubbed and subbed. But that was great. The growls and the sword play and the play was wonderful. The play itself was wonderful. That looked like that's why the show was made like that, just for that play scene, because that's when it looked good. That's when it looked the best. But I just don't remember the music too much.
Yeah, I only remember the intro, which was obviously skipped. And then I remember the song when he was always like, when he got into his mind and things got sad, the little chimes and like the piano, that was literally that's the only song I would say in terms of like sound design that I actually remember.
Yeah. It wasn't bad though. It was never bad. It was always right for the moment. Especially when they were about to get down in that hotel. That tune that played, I'm like, okay, I can feel that. I have to average this down to about a 7.5 for me because I don't remember it. It didn't spark to me that much, but the few times it did spark, like when they growled, or you know what I'm saying, when he was acting like a wolf, or the lions were the tiger dude was fucking in his bag about to take our dude out into play. Like that shit was nice, but other than that, it wasn't nothing to write home about sonically.
So I tried this in Japanese and both dub, and I actually preferred the dub on this one.
Yeah.
To me, the dub just sounds really fucking good.
Real good.
And the voices, you know, they fit in very well. I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. Sound design to me was an 8. It wasn't perfect in any way, shape, or form, but it actually surprised me. And I felt like they dropped the music and stuff at the right times. It just wasn't like the most memorable music. Like, it's not like they had a whole soundtrack of music for us to like say, oh my God, this is fire. Like it wasn't like Your Lie in April where fucking it's all based around sound design. But the sound design was still cool, and I'm giving most of that to the fact of like the actual sound effects and the voice actors. I thought the voice actors were amazing. In Japanese, they were still very good, but I ended up switching to dub just to give it a try, and I enjoyed like Rui's voice. I enjoyed Goshi's voice. I enjoyed Haru's voice. I even enjoyed Juno's voice.
I love like Juno's. Yeah,
the whole list, the whole entourage to me had great voices.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
So story. I start with story then, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, story wise, this is where the show really thrived to me.
Yeah, man.
I was not expecting this story. I was not expecting the progression.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting
the growth.
I wasn't expecting any of this. I went into this thinking Beastars, it sounds like a fucking fight anime, right? And in my opinion, when I was getting there, I'm trying to figure out what is a Beastar. And we really don't even fully understand what the full extent of a Beastar is, but the story itself leads you to believe that this is some figure. It's almost like All Might in My Hero. It's almost like it's that symbol that brings in the unity, who unifies everything and creates this imagery of like greatness, right?
Yeah.
And apparently this school is the school that cultivates the Beastar. And the story, it was well developed around our characters. Like, we had some side characters who we didn't give any fucks about, right? Didn't never know their names. We just know that there's the cheetah girl who was recruited, and we know that like the characters in all of the even in all the acting class, right? They were all recruited for specific reasons. We got like little beats in info about every character in like the acting club, and then there was other characters outside the acting club that we didn't get too much about. But the story itself, like how there's a black market for eating, meat, and how the blood of an animal is literally like a drug. It's like doping to animals, and it gives them a sense of intensity and adrenaline
to the carnivores.
To carnivores that will push them over. And even like the responses, like how Haru had the response, like when they were in that hotel that night. Her normal, it was fight or flight, right?
Animal
and
instinct.
Her response is like, he's about to eat me. And rabbits freeze up when they're already in the mouth of an animal, and her body is just throwing itself inside of him, and it's like, it makes sense. Like the story, and like it felt real. It felt like there's more to come, and there's so much more development to come. But we saw so much development in this. Like we saw, we saw Legoshi go from an antisocial introvert to an antisocial introvert who kind of understands himself better now.
Yeah.
And
a small piece of himself he understands better.
I don't want to take all the ideas from Polo. I want Polo to talk on it too. But I actually rated the story a 10.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Polo. What did you think?
I'm gonna just go ahead and say it's a 10. From the moment it started, I was intrigued. Like you look at the show, for me personally, okay, this is me personally. You look at the art style and you go, this is furries. Like why would I even want to watch this? And then it slowly starts to tell that story. It doesn't even start off with Legoshi in the beginning, almost period. It just starts off with the death of the alpaca. And from there, you just see it grows into this story that becomes something I never expected it to be. Going into Beastars knowing nothing about it, again, it's another one of those animes. If you know nothing about it, you don't know what the fuck to expect. It turns into this fucking just amazing, literally a roller coaster. It's an actual roller coaster of pure enjoyment. The story is a fucking 10 for me, for all the reasons you said, but as well as I don't think any anime has done inner monologue as good as Beastars.
Yes. Yes. And that's the part that made me feel so much, is that like, yo, this inner monologue feels like almost real. Like Monique and I was watching a Lil Dicky show the other day. I
love that fucking show, Dave.
It just felt like
it's so good.
That's his real life, like almost like the conversations. And that's what the inner monologue felt like here.
Yeah.
He was monologuing and you could relate instantly when he was inner monologuing, especially if you have that kind of like inner dialect in yourself. Like it just felt great.
It felt right. Some anime do inner monologue and they do it. This show does it a lot. I'm not going to say it doesn't. But other shows do it a lot, and just in unopportune like moments. This did it during the most opportune moments, the most stressful, the most high tense situations, to where like, yes, like these are the thoughts us as viewers are having. And you saying it is just validating our thoughts, which makes it all the more impactful in the show. And I love that shit, man. This story is a 10. For sure.
My brother. So our final segment that we're going to end off with for this show is characters, Polo.
Characters.
So what do you think about the characters?
Oh, boy. Okay, so we're maybe about 5 characters that I've actually enjoyed. The rest, I don't remember. They are literally just fodder. Other characters in the show are absolute fodder. But there's about 5 characters in the show that are extremely important. That's Legoshi, that's Rui, the Haru, obviously. And then you got the tiger. I thought he was very, very important. And then you got Juno. And the rest, I'm like, you got the best friend, the dog best friend. You got the fucking, I don't even know who else. Like I don't.
Tim, who got smashed.
Tim.
The alpaca.
Oh, the alpaca that got body at the beginning. Yes, yeah. I forgot about that. But like
Jack the dog.
Yeah.
You don't care about Jack.
No, exactly. So the rest of the characters are fodder, but they developed those 5 characters so fucking well. Well. It's so hard to go anything below a 9. Like it's so hard. The other characters, like I said, the other characters are fine. They're there to help push the story forward. Like Haru's bullies and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they're there to help kind of like build up our main 5 characters. And the way the inner monologue happens with those 5 characters and the way what they develop into after going through something like Haru was into Rui and Rui was into Haru, and then Haru started to figure out that she's into Legoshi slowly but surely, and like why it's a wolf. It's just phenomenal. So it's gonna be a 9 for me, 9 flat. character wise. But again, the rest of them you don't even remember. But they serve their purpose well. I will say that.
All right. So, I agree with like everything you said.
Yeah.
You said nothing I disagree with. Only difference is that like I'm giving it a 9.5.
Okay. And where the 0.5 come from?
I just agree with you. I just think I'm giving it 9.5 because that's what I wrote down all my ratings before we even got here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I like the characters so much that there's like, I think in the main characters, I feel like they carried all the interactions, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that they intentionally built like those other characters for us to even care about them too much. Like they introduced them, but they were, like you said, they were fodder, but they were like meaningful fodder to drive the story, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think they were completely useless. They just weren't fully utilized, but they did utilize characters that we didn't think were going to be important. Like I didn't think Bill would be important at all. And like you said, there's a whole story about Tim that we don't even understand yet.
Yeah.
So there's more development in the characters to be had later. It's just that right now we don't fully know.
Exactly.
And that's kind of like I'm a little disappointed that we don't have more.
Right.
But that's just because there's going to be a season 2. You know. So I mean we gotta wait till 2021, but there's going to be a season 2, and right now season 1 is really good. Yeah. And I'm giving the characters a 9.5. So,
all right. So with that, while he's averaging the scores, I'm going to tell you about our next review.
I already got the scores averaged.
Oh shit! Our next review is going to be of Demon Lord Retry. Now we're doing that one a little bit different. We decided to go with the same scale, just backwards, in reverse, in negative format, because the show is just that bad. Okay, it's real bad. So if we rated normally, it'd be like in the 3s, the 4s, and shit like that. And we screw that. We decided to have a little bit of fun with this one. So we're going to go to the negative route. So the higher the number, the worse it is. Instead of the higher the number, it being greater, this time we're going the negative route, which is the higher the number, the worse it is. So with that, after Till get these averages, we're going to discuss Demon Lord Retry. You can skip forward if you're actually into the show. I'm sorry, because I'm going to just say this now, Till. There's people that fucking love this show.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you see that at?
And it's maybe because I watched it on Funimation.
Where did you see that at? Who loves this show?
So the last episode on Funimation, people were praising, this is one of the best shows I've ever watched. I can't wait till we get a season 2. Blah 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 blah. Like the concept of the show is fantastic. Oh God, no.
Nah, that's wild.
Let's have some fun though.
I can't believe.
Before we
I can't believe. No, ain't. Who likes that show? Go home.
So, before we have some fun with the Demon Lord Retry, what is the Beastar Mic Check Waifu official review? So,
Mr. Polo Bornfly himself, gave Beastars a lovely score of 8.3 as his average. That's about right. Gave Beastar a 9.4 as an average. And our complete culmination of our points and score goes down to an 8.85.
Wow.
For Beastars.
So that puts it just below Erased.
Just above Erased.
You said 8.85?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said 8.5. What? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it's up there. That's mostly because of me. I boosted the points a lot. Because Polo did not like the animation.
Yeah, that shit was garbage, bro.
Oh man.
8.8, right?
8.85, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's right under Demon Slayer, just above Erased. That's interesting. I would objectively I can't remember what my individual score of Demon Slayer was. But Demon Slayer animation boosted that one up, just like this story boosted this one. Interesting. Okay.
Now, how are we gonna start with this Demon Lord Retry?
Oh my God! All right. So the same review scale, same categories. We're just gonna go backwards. Okay, negatives.
I mean,
starting from 0 being the best.
Yeah, I know.
Negative 10 being the worst. All right. So Demon Lord Retry is an isekai. Dog. At one point, I even bless you. At one point, I even fucking forgot it was an isekai. I'm like, is this just the show? I don't understand what the fuck is even going on. The story was at first, the first like 2 episodes was about him figuring out how the fuck he got to this world, and it turned into this fucking entirely different show at like the 5th episode point. Then it changed again at the 6th episode point, and then it would just roll this one wave all the way to the end. This show is fucking stupid. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's about this guy who is a game developer who gets summoned to this world essentially that's almost identical to his game. Almost, not quite. Okay. He's there, but he's like an admin. He has admin abilities from his created game, which that they don't really go into detail on why the fuck he has admin capabilities from his personal game into this world, which is the same but different than his game. So I don't quite understand what the fuck is going on there, but whatever. He comes in and he gets this moniker as the Demon Lord because why?
Because he was summoned and he just got the Lucifer body, I guess.
Never explained. So
yeah, the only reason I know it's Lucifer's body is because in one of the little cutscenes it shows him and it says fallen angel Lucifer. Like, okay,
yeah, that was towards the end.
That was it. That's the only time they actually mentioned.
And that was literally the 12th episode.
Yeah. Other than the first episode, they did talk about something about his body and stuff like that before in the beginning episodes, but nothing that was like well explained or anything like that. So
okay. Yeah. This looks like it's on a man, even sometimes the animation was okay, but most of the time it just wasn't there. Like I feel like I was watching 7 Deadly Sins late seasons. Sometimes. This
is one of the anime I was talking about when those frame rates was trash.
Yeah.
Like this is one, and this is why I was saying I was very surprised that Beastars had the frame rate issues, because I felt like I consistently saw frame rate issues with this show.
No, that was an art choice. That was an art decision. These are like mistakes.
Yeah.
Like
consistently, this show was like,
and I don't even think it was frame rate issue, because a frame rate issue is based off the motion. They just skipped whole frames, like
whole images. Was just like, all right, we're not gonna draw this one.
Yeah, it just was gone. That's a big difference. Like the entire, like just a frame was missing from the show. Maybe it was intentional. Don't look like it was, but it was bad.
They need to hold this L, because this is about to be an L.
All right, let's go straight into the category, shall we?
All right. Let's start with pacing.
Fuck, dude. What pacing? What is this show even? What is this? What is it even about? I don't know. It doesn't have a pacing to it. Dog, I'm gonna have to go with about a negative 8.5.
Oh. Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. That pacing was trash, bro. So they had a clear, they had a line that he was going in, right? But none of it really made sense. Mm-mm. And it was like, hey, 1 minute I'm a dude in black. 1 minute I'm a dragonkin in white. The next minute I'm building up a city. The next minute I'm going to an entirely different land. Like, hey, I'm ending off this show. We're going off to an entirely different land. I'm giving it a -9 on the pacing.
Yeah, bro, it's awful.
Yeah, that was straight garbage. That was straight garbage, bro.
Straight garbage.
Oh man, that was goodness gracious.
What's next? You start off with the next one.
I'm gonna just go. We just gonna go straight to story.
Oh god.
Because the story.
Bro.
The story. So this is why I don't understand how people like this show. Where was this story at? Like,
Dog.
where was the character development at? Like, the only development he had in the show was that he fixed old girl leg. Aku?
Yeah, but how's that character development?
I don't know. That's just part of the story, bro. Like, this is a -10.
Dog, this show went from him being transported to this world, and at first, maybe the first 2 episodes, it looked like he was gonna try to figure this shit out because that was the plan, that was the mission. It ended up turning into a fucking harem, and no time flat.
But not even like a real harem.
No, not even a real one. No, you exactly right. It went to him basically fucking converting this girl, this holy maiden that's supposed to destroy demon type people, that ends up basically falling in love with him with this fucking whole, like, this attitude and this, like, this character is so awful. She's so bad. Why are you trying to look at my ass? It's just awful, man. It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes sense at all. Why is he able to summon people from his video game into this world too?
Dynamically, that's a horrible decision. I mean, and it's not a horrible decision in terms of like storytelling, but they needed to develop the story more to make that make sense, right? Like, they didn't make it make sense, and that's why it's so horrible. It's just stupid. Right.
They did not explain why that was even possible. He just said, I should be able to do this with this, and it just happened. It just happened, bro. Yeah, hold that 10. Hold that -10.
Hold that -10. That's trash. All right, bro. You start with animation, bro.
All right. We touched on this earlier. Literally entire frames was missing. Like, it's not like a frame rate issue where shit was stop and skip. Shit was gone. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9.5. And the only reason why I'm not giving it a 10 was because it was this one moment when he was fighting that vampire that fucking looks kind of sick. And I kind of enjoyed it. When he fought the vampire and he was whooping his ass all across that.
But when he cracked him?
Yeah. When he was just bodying him through that whole courtyard and embarrassing him. That part was slightly enjoyable animation-wise. But the rest of it, awful. The one oldest sister, her face changed about 3 times in the show. It changed. Like, it went from being this cutesy look, and it's not like it was like, I'm gonna do this art style different because her emotion changed. It was just her face as a whole changed, and it was awful. And when he transformed into the dragon dude, it looked like when Meliodas was laying on a bed. In some damn sense. He looked like a plushie. It was bad.
My God.
So go ahead and take that 9.5.
Straight up, I get animation -10.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you exactly why. And it has nothing to do with like just like how the frame rate was trash and I didn't like the artistic design. It also had to do with like sometimes you're looking at a character head on. Yeah. Like, I remember looking at Dio, I think was what the character's name was.
Yeah.
The Demon Lord. And you're looking at him head on, but the side of his jaw is showing.
Yeah.
And then you look at another character, and like the like one time you can see their eyes through their hair, and the next time you can't. And it was like there's just so many inconsistencies in the artistic like art style that it was just trash. It was like it wasn't like it's the worst art I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
So choppy.
Yeah.
Even like his blast, right? Like he did 2 different like blasts of energy. They were both completely different. Mm-hmm. Like there was no like consistency in the show in general. So it's just like, nah, man, that's another -10 for me.
Tell's more harsh on the negative reviews than me.
Bro, this is trash.
It's bad, man. It's real bad. What's next?
Sound design. So I think sound design was the most redeeming quality of this entire show. Because even though I have no memorable moments or instances for like music or anything, or the voice acting being good ever because it didn't feel good.
Subbed or dubbed.
At the very least, it's not like the words were off cue with the mouth.
Yeah.
They didn't miss sounds when like they were throwing a fire blast or there was a sword swinging. They didn't miss things. So I'm gonna give it just a -5 on this one because it wasn't the worst sound design I've ever heard in my life.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a -5 too. Because I mean, all the reasons you said, it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was in the middle of the road, but it was still bad. Like, because it just wasn't there. You know, it wasn't. Nothing was there. Did it even have a theme? Was it? It wasn't even a theme to the show as far as like, you know, when this happens, this sound plays like in My Hero. You know.
If there was, it wasn't memorable enough, and that's their fault.
Yep.
So you gave it a -5 in sound design as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the characters?
Man, to me, there were 2 characters I liked. That was Aku, and that was you, the doctor lady. Those were the 2 characters I actually kind of liked. Actually, no, 3, because I liked the angel too. The chick he gave the headload to. I like them. I like the premise of them because they were the more, I guess, grounded characters. And you can understand why Aku had her feelings for him because of what he did back in her village, which was the only time the show actually made some kind of a sense. Like when he came to the world and he saw this girl being basically tortured. That part was the only part that kind of made sense. But the angel sister was the one that's like, yo, he's a demon lord. I need to go investigate this further because he's doing something to my sister to make her follow him and shit. Like she was the more logical one. And then the doctor, she was just the waifu. She was the one I enjoyed the most because of, you know, the way she moved. Yeah. I fucked with that. So to me personally, sound design for you, how sound design was the most redeeming part for you, those 3 characters was the most redeeming part for me. So I got to give that a -4. No, take that to a 5. I'm sorry, Tel. Take that to a 5. And I'm going to take that to a 5 because the rest of the fucking characters were shit. They were so shit. It's bad. Like they're real bad, including our main character. Those 3 gave y'all a -5, so you be thankful.
So I gave this a -6.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. It's because literally, my issue is the fact that like I liked the same characters that you liked. Also adding Tron. Because I thought Tron was an interesting character. She just wasn't developed on.
Who's Tron?
She was the devil girl.
Oh,
she was half human, half devil. Yeah. I liked her. But there was like
to her. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the characters that they tried to introduce that were supposed to seem cool just weren't. Like Killer Queen, the other holy maiden girl. She was not cool.
She was awful.
She was horrible.
She did have that one cool line on where she said something, fuck stupid bitch or some shit like that.
Yeah, like
that was the coolest part.
Hey, no, that was actually, yeah, I agree. That shit was pretty lit. But otherwise, yeah, she was trash, and I didn't like her at all, any way, shape, or form. No. And like her, like, why was the dude named Martial Arts? Exactly. And he used a sword, and he didn't actually fight. Like, you made him like not worth anything. Like there was no point in giving us a character named Martial Arts who just sits on the horse and doesn't do shit. Like it was really just like consistently bad.
Yeah.
That's all.
Straight up.
I mean. All right. So are you ready for our ratings?
Yes, please. The first negative review of My Check Waifu.
So, Polo gave Demon Lord Retry a beautiful -7.5.
That's it. Damn.
I gave Demon Lord Retry a -8
Wow.
because it's trash.
Shit.
And that puts it at a -7.75, making it our most disliked anime of all time so far on this list. It is our current.
You know what? I'm gonna separate it in the doc.
It is our current number one Hall of Shame.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna name it too. Hall of Shame. Is there even gonna be anything else in this? I'm sure something will.
We'll find something that's just so bad.
Okay, Demon Lord Retry. What was it?
7.75.
-7.75. That's interesting. It's something.
It's definitely something. Because, bro, I don't even know how that show made it on anything, any platform.
And it was simul-dubbed, too.
It literally should have been on the site that shall not be named.
Yes,
only.
and that's it.
And just never to be found.
Straight up. Facts. All right. And for our final review, this is a long episode, but fuck it. For the final review, we get to review Darwin's Game, which ended this week. This is my, I'm going to just start off by saying, this is my hit of the summer. It definitely solidified.
Not summer.
Sorry, spring. No, winter. Damn. Of winter. It definitely solidified a space at the top for me, especially after watching this last the most recent Inspector episode. I didn't finish ID Invaded yet, because it's a behind a week for me because I watched it in dub. But, I mean, I guess I should hold off on if it's my top yet until I watch this last episode. But I got an inkling that ID Invaded isn't still gonna impress me that much. So
yeah, it's still gonna be your number one.
Yeah. Okay. So
I know I liked the ending of ID Invaded, but it's not gonna be yours.
It's not that special. Okay. So for me, yeah, Darwin's Game was special, and the reason why it was special because I'm gonna just say the categories that were special to me: character growth, animation, and fucking story were great. Actually, put down story and bring up sound design, because sound design was actually really good. So those are the categories that are going to be stand out for me in this review, straight up. And honestly, I cannot wait to season fucking 2, dude. I wish this shit wasn't just 11 episodes. Like, why? You know? Why? Tell you I know.
So, I think Darwin's Game had a very strong beginning, and had a very strong ending. Like it had a very consistent. It was still consistent in the middle.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
It just wasn't like my favorite.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I'm being real, it was consistent. I just didn't think it was my favorite in terms of like the season. But the beginning was hard. It was good, and then the ending was also just. I thought the ending was better than the beginning. You know, I almost wish they had a 45-minute ending.
Yes, bro.
But I do enjoy how it ended, and I'm excited to see where it goes in the future.
Straight up. All right. So let's get started.
Do you want to lead this one?
Yes, sir.
On pacing?
Let's do pacing. So pacing, for me, I feel like this was one of this winter season, this was properly paced minus one situation. There was one situation to where they decided to do a recap episode of it was like 4.5.
Yeah, we don't count that, bro. That don't count.
So we ain't gonna throw it in there in the pacing.
Yeah,
okay,
because
so
that's not really fair, because it literally doesn't. There's nothing new in that episode. Recap episodes are like hold you over until they were finished with the next.
That's
episode.
true.
That's not fair to count that.
That's a good point. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to give the pacing a 9. I was leaning towards more 8 because of that episode, but because it didn't make sense to me. But you're right, it shouldn't count, because again, if you're binging it, you're not going to binge the recap episode. You're going to binge it straight through. And when you're binging it straight through, every fucking episode hit. It would bang, 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 and it was something. So like Tell said, it was consistent. The pacing of the show was most certainly consistent. And again, another one of those shows where the cliffhangers were perfect. There were perfect teases to what you were going to get next, and it felt right. And then even sometimes where they would do the after credit scenes, man, those after credit scenes sometimes were stronger than the entire episode itself. So I'll have to say the pacing for me was a 9.
So, the pacing to me was also really good. And I'll say it was really good because it started off so strong in the beginning. It felt like it took a sprint.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, from the beginning, I liked Inspector more.
Mm-hmm.
From the jump. Inspector was like, it took my attention, and it was just because it was about like the spirit world, right? That's my ish right there. That's my jam. But Darwin's Game, objectively, when it started, it took a sprint. It jumped. You know, it did what everyone else didn't do, and that was that 45-minute jump. And that's what we liked about Astronauts in Space. Right. They took that step that said, this is where we're going to develop the show right now and give you a full sample of what you should expect for the rest of the show. Mm-hmm. And that's where it thrived. And for me, that's what made the pacing so well. So I agree with Polo that the pacing on the show is a 9. And the consistency is what keeps it at a 9. Yeah. If it had kept a little bit more high energy, like if it had something that to me felt like the pacing was not only consistent, but gradually becoming like it was showing me more of what I actually wanted, I think it would have been more fire. I don't think it actually disappointed in any real sense. It's a 9 in pacing. Yeah.
You want to take the next, John?
The next one is story. The story for me is what hits. So like, I do enjoy this story a lot. Mm-hmm. So like, the story itself is kind of like, you got this high school kid who don't want to take part in this game, and he didn't even know about this game to begin with, and he gets brought in because his friend, you know, initially has no one else who can help him. Right. And he is dragged into this game that he had no idea about, and is like 100% like, hey, let's do this. I mean, I'm not gonna say he was like, let's do this, but he gets dragged into it. Yeah, he is dragged to this game, but he immediately kind of like starts to see like the reality of this game and the mortality in it, that at any moment means if he loses, he's dead. But I loved mostly what really gave me a huge like shock was at the end, like how he chose his benefit, his
yes, man. What?
That shit was hard. I was like, yo. And then I felt like we slept on our undefeated princess.
Yes.
Our undefeated queen. We slept on her, bro. But
incredible.
So story-wise, it's not like it is probably actually my favorite part of the entire show. But it's not like my favorite story. So for me, I'm gonna give the story an 8.
Okay.
And it's just a solid story.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I'm right there with you. It's definitely a solid story. The story of being dragged into this game that he did not want to be a part of, and then happened to be a part of, and thinking to himself with the mind of humanity, like, I don't want to kill anybody. This game is trying to force me to kill people, and that's just not what I want to do. I'm not about that life. Okay. It's almost, you can almost look at it as the what's the word I'm looking for? The reflection of L and Death Note, right? Like he was like not down with it at first, and then when he got down with it, he said, I'm only kill evil people, right? He's like, I don't want to kill nobody. I want to avoid it by any means necessary, and he wanted to do whatever he could. And then with that, the story progressed further, and it turns into this beautiful character-driven story that completely changes in the end, that is so satisfying. So for me, the story is an 8.5. Now, to me, it wasn't the strongest part of the show, because I do believe the characters are, and we're going to get into that shortly. But it was really, really good. Like, the concept of the story was really good.
Yeah. So you gave it 8.5?
Yeah, for the story.
All right. So you lead off with the animation then, brother.
Oh my God. This show was so fucking pretty. And when I say it's so pretty, I mean the lighting situations, the way they eyes light up when their sigil activates, the way the undefeated princess moves with her chains, the fucking when old girl came up with her martial art move, and the fucking entire screen changed. The way people were getting blown back and heads was getting chopped off and fucking body parts were getting cut off. They showed it, but they didn't show it. And I love when TV shows and anime and just movies in general can show violence without necessarily showing the violence.
It's the closure.
It's the art of it. It's so artistic that it makes me so very happy. And like just watching the angles they're using with vignettes in different parts of the world, and like the color correction they used on the show was, it was great. It was just great. So for me, it was a 9 for sure. The animation was great, dude. The way the teleports looked, I love that shit, man. It was so flashy when they were in the hotel and the fire was going up and the dude was fighting with his fire, and when okay, I'm done. I'm gawking because it was just directed so well.
All right. Animation for me was just a 7. And to me, it felt like there were pretty elements, but all of it wasn't pretty like all the time. I don't think animation wise it was consistent.
I think wrong.
I think that it was consistent in terms of like what the characters actually looked like, but I felt like the characters looked like Demon Lord Retry, but upgraded.
Stop it. You cannot ever do that. That is just not true. That is factually not true. And the characters artistically didn't look that like stunning, and some of them actually looked very. We're talking about animation, though. We're not talking about character design.
I know, but the design is part of the animation, and then how they moved. Yeah, the movements and everything were fluid. They were smooth. But for me to look at this show and say like try and be objective about it, I think the coolest animated part, like what stood out, was when they were using their sigil and their eyes lit up, or specifically
the way they moved.
One of my favorite parts, the part that stood out the most to me, was when the maniac choppy dude, teleporty guy, when he and the other one, there was one other part when he was like showing like his villainous side, and they kind of give him this big black silhouette with this like raging like red around him. And then our hacker girl, she goes into her mind to do her thing. Those were like, to me, in terms of animation, were the best parts. And it just seemed like, to me, the animation was average. It didn't seem...
You're crazy. It
didn't seem amazing. It didn't blow me away.
That's fucking insane.
The first episode had the best animation.
The way they chick moved the water. Oh my God. The way the powers looked in general, from the fire to the vines that the dude used, and when he transformed into his suit, like the animation of the show was fucking phenomenal. Now, when you talk animation, you do talk a lot about the character design, which I understand as well, because I tend to do that too, because like, for instance, the reason why Dr. Stone was like, the Dr. Stone character design for me was beautiful. It was gorgeous. But I did not factor that into my review. I'm talking about the way the show was animated, which is the motion of the graphic of the show. That's what I rank my animation by. So if you're talking about character design, head shapes and eye shapes and shit, that's different.
That's not the only reason I'm rating that. I'm saying like the character design plus the motion of the show. I think the motion of the show itself wasn't that bad. But like I said, I'm saying it's average. I think that first episode, the first episode was completely different visually. It felt so much more dynamic in that first 45-minute episode. It felt like it was almost going to be a movie.
That's the okay, all right.
And you're right. That was the point of it.
But like we talk the entire show was like that, is what I'm saying.
So we talk about Asher Lost in Space, right? That animation was a whole different level than this.
Because that was a mixture of 2D first with slight depth of field 3D animation as well. That this didn't have. This didn't have any of that. But
that first episode had some intensity that was like that though, and that's what I'm saying is like.
Oh, I see.
The rest of it to me, like including, like I said, the character design. The character designs didn't seem dynamic, and there were dynamic moments, but it wasn't like the show had that energy, that consistency for that animation for me to be like, damn, that's a 9.
I think this is the most we've ever disagreed before. Ever.
It's not even that far off. I just said it was average.
That shit is so above average. Average, I don't. Oh man, I'm trying to think of what's an average animation.
Naruto is average.
Yes, and that's nothing like this. You just proved my point for me. This animation was way better than Naruto's, man.
Until Naruto fights Pain and the QB.
But that's just
and
okay
stuff like
though.
That. But that's what I'm saying. Is like it gets good when things get good, right? Like when they about to start getting hyped. But when it's just like in the transition, like in the middle of things, it was like average.
Oh, when he was in her, when they were in the bed together, the way the shit, like they had the fucking what they call that? Oh, not
drape.
Not the drape. The sun rays coming in, and they had the particle effects. That's what it is. The particles effects coming through this. Like that shit was beautiful. That shit was beautiful.
That is
drunk.
beautiful.
You're drunk.
It's average. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Now
that's mind you. You rated Beastars better than that, which I do not.
For animation,
yeah,
that's because I enjoyed Beastars animation. This is objective, obviously. This is not. This is not. No, this is subjective. This is not objective. This is not me saying like.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to rate it and say like, look, I think this is what the show essentially was.
Right.
But my objective opinion is still.
I got you.
Subjective.
Yeah.
It's still what I think of it.
That's what this entire review scale is. It's a subjectively objective review scale.
It's us trying to be objective, but it's still subjective to the opinion.
Exactly.
So sound design, as I'm thinking about it, I'm actually starting to change my mind on it.
This is really good.
Because I was going to say the sound design was average 2 and give it a 7, but now I'm looking at it and I think it deserves an 8. And I'm going to say because like I'm thinking about like the entire time, like they were consistent with like, I'm thinking about like when old girl was moving the water, even when they were like the cubes were coming in and teleporting the bodies apart. And like there was very consistent. Like the guns didn't sound like pew pew guns. They sound like real guns.
Yep.
So I'm actually going to have to renege on what I put in and give this an 8 on sound design because I thought like, it was consistent. Yeah. The sound design was consistently good. It wasn't average. So I actually changed my mind on that one. The music actually did kind of give you some hype to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I felt it.
So, like, I have to rock with an 8. I have to change my own mind. And I apologize for that in advance because I needed to. I don't change my scores normally.
Yeah. I'm going to go with an 8.5 on it because I did enjoy it too. Like, it's again, you remember in the animation how I talked about the way they use the vignetting animation for like cutting off somebody's head, like when he kicked the cop head off. But the sound attached to it was so guttural. It was like a guttural. It was the sound you felt when somebody got their body part sliced off, or like when even the Viper or the villain at the end, when he got his legs chopped off and you heard it and he started screaming, it just was awful. Like you said, the music was, man, I was like literally getting on the edge of my seat sometimes during that, during like when it when the music would pop on. Yeah, 8.5 because like you said, the gun sounds were heavy, nice and bassy. And then when he summoned something with his sigil too, that sound it made, that printing yet electrical sound like Transformer, that shit was ill. Like it was some great sound moments in the show, especially in that first episode when he was fighting that panda. And
when we thought the building got blown up.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm not even that, but I'm talking about like when the dude with the vines.
No,
like,
I know. Yeah.
He tried to blow up the building. Like to me, that was like, I thought that was dope.
It was sick. But I think the deaths, like that shit was hard. Like when they queued up, it was awful. It was just an awful sound.
It sounded ominous. Like
yeah,
that shit sound harsh. So the final part, I know Polo about to go off on this part. What you think about the characters, bro?
Fucking wonderful, man. I loved him. I hated the villain. He makes a great point, and this is the only reason why this is going to be, and I'm gonna tell you my score now, a 9.5, because you were absolutely right when you said the villain was just a villain for villain's sakes, but like he was still like towards the end they kind of went a little bit deeper into what he was about. He was still just fucking, he was evil. Mm-hmm. He was awful. The economy, his character growth is putting this fucking entire score on his back, man. His character growth from, I'm not trying to kill anybody. I don't want to be a part of this game. My plan is to stop anybody from killing each other, to killing people because it's necessary, to try to tell people, hey, you can't kill here. And that was the last episode of the show. The last 2 episodes of the show. His character growth, his change, his transformation. It's not Kaneki's transformation, yes. Okay, but it was so impactful because he was such a likable dude, man. Just a likable dude. He's not, those types that when you have a girl that's crushing on you, he's not the type to shy away from it and run away like, oh, she's touching me type shit. At one point, he did get a little uncomfortable because she was naked in her bed and they literally just got done fighting. Like that made sense, but he's still a character with like gravitas, I guess, with balls,
Yeah.
And I just love it, man. I love it. And you see the way that training was put to use from that dojo dude. Oh my God. He was a monster. He was a monster when he started killing people. I loved it, man.
He kind of like jumped right into that. Like he knew he was prepared. I think that he kind of knew
his last friend. That's all he had.
Yeah, gone. he kind of knew like that at some point. I felt like in his training he knew he was going to have to shift. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's not something they needed to tell us, but he knew like fighting against this guy, he's going to have to shift.
And I thought differently. I thought he learned that to defend himself and only defend himself. So he wasn't a burden to Shuka. What's her name?
He doesn't want his group to die.
Yep.
That's his last alternative. He doesn't want to die. He doesn't want his group to die.
Yeah.
I rated the characters at 8.5, and majority of it being an 8.5 is because the boy Economy put the entire story and like character development, in my opinion, on his back. Like
I love
he is the epitome of what a character should be developed to be.
Yeah,
like
main character.
That shit felt great. The other characters to me, like I don't even know the guy with the light machine gun. Like I don't know his name.
Yeah, they didn't really say much about him.
Ryuji.
Yeah,
like
I don't know his story.
We know that he wanted to kill old boy, and we know at the end because they said the only reason he wanted to kill him is because his brother was killed.
Oh shit!
Cool.
I missed that.
Yeah, cool. We know that old girl is in the D game because her parents was there. We don't know why Sui and her brother, what's his name, Shoto or Soda. We don't know why the twins are in one person, or is it just a mind switch?
So it was Soda died. Her twin brother died in the situation.
That did happen. We do know.
And she felt like the blame was on her, so she wanted to play the D game. And because she knew that it did something, like it's a way for her to bring her brother back, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that now. I do remember that. But like, so character wise, I don't think Sui and Soda got their development as much. Shoka, I like her. I do. She is one of my favorites. I do like Rain more than I like Shoka.
Yeah.
Because Rain's the small, timid, smart girl. I like the smart people better.
Yeah.
Kanami, but he's just a star, obviously. He is literally the star. And they couldn't have built a better like main character.
Yeah.
Shulan Louis, I like her too.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
But we don't have any idea or reference to like really say what she's gonna be in the future. I loved what her character did for that moment.
Yeah, it's gonna be live when she's involved. Did you see? Oh my god, the way they looked from like when they turned basically into the Sunset Ravens. That shit. And
they had all that black on.
Yes,
that shit was lit. And they designed a logo. That was hard.
Shit was dope, man.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my characters at an 8.5.
I got you.
So, what do you rate the show, Polo? Oh no, I'm tripping. I have all the ratings here. Polo's official rating for Darwin's game, is an 8.9. My official rating is an 8.1. Putting Darwin's game at an 8.5.
So it's below Erased, above Dr. Stone. Okay. 8.5.
Goodness gracious. We rated a lot of stuff. This is the rating episode.
Now, shit, we're an hour and 21 into this show. We're not going to do a break song, but we are going to give our recommendations. My recommendation for this week, I had it pulled up here, but then shit changed.
Yeah, let me grab that real quick.
Yeah, shit changed when I pulled up, what you call it?
You want me to get mine first then?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So my recommendation is Kaido, the right answer. That's Kado, the right answer. It is a psychological anime that kind of makes you rethink life. It really is. It's like one of those things that like essentially what happens is this person from another world comes to Earth and presents Earth with a solution to all their problems. And basically, how does Earth react to that? If I tell you, I give you an unlimited source of power and fuel, and the power to like fuel your government infinitely, right? How do you do that? Yeah. How do you take that? And does that cause an argument amongst the entire world? I don't know. Find out next time on this episode of Mic Check Waifu Z. But I definitely recommend it. It was a great show. The twist at the end was really cool.
Very interesting.
Some people, it did have a one episode lull though. To me, that was like,
where the pacing just kind of dropped.
Yeah, it was like, why'd you even put the episode in?
Right.
You could have like skipped that shit, but there was like some cool character dynamics in terms of like figuring out your character. There is some character development, and even like I think it's really more of that like expanding your mind kind of show. Yeah. Don't get high and watch this show because you'll trip the fuck out, I guess.
Especially when they get into the whole ship part of it. It gets wild. That's a good one. That's a real good one. I'm going to go with yet another slice of life. Man, this one's one of my favorites. It has one of the best waifus in the entire world. Her name is Miku. This show is quintessential quintuplets. It's about an extremely smart guy who's tasked with tutoring these quintuplets, these 5 sisters who are each dumb in a specific category. So one is dumb in math, one is dumb in science, one is dumb in history, etc. He is tasked with tutoring them because his family are on like rough times. They're doing horrible. They're impoverished, if you will. But the quintessential quintuplets are very rich. So now he's doing this for this big payday because if these girls can pass if these girls can pass, then he gets a bonus check that'll then essentially help his entire family out. So Quintessential Quintuplets is one of my favorite slice of life, one of my favorite romance comedies. It's fucking great, dude. It literally have you laughing out loud. You be rooting for a specific sister, or you could root for all of the sisters. It's wonderful. It's a great show, and I enjoy every last piece of it. Actually, when I pull up my phone, Miku has been my background for a very long time. You can't see that because I got it on Do Not Disturb mode, but that's Miku there. And then when I open my phone, I'm going to go to a page. It's not that busy. That's Miku again. So, yeah, I love her.
Wasn't she a wallpaper on your computer one time, too?
She was. Actually, no, all the sisters were. Well, no, she was because she was my wallpaper engine wallpaper. So, yeah, she's great. I actually need to find a figurine of Miku ASAP and put her back here.
I do want to say one thing before we head off to our My Hero review.
Let's do it. Talk.
just it's gonna be quick. Promise Neverland made a reference to the coronavirus in their most recent manga chapter.
What?
And yeah, I love that they did it. I'm not gonna give too much context, but if you're a manga reader, go to Shonen Jump. It's like $1 a month. Go read it. But they did make a reference to the coronavirus. It literally says coronavirus written in blood on the wall. It was pretty dope. And I love that they did that. And I can't imagine they're going to really do that in the anime when they get to this far in, because this is probably going to be like 3 years down the line. We might not have a vaccine by then. But it was a really cool reference that they would even do that. And I think that people or the writers who take that time out to kind of make that kind of are in touch with the world, and that kind of felt like I'm reading a manga that is in touch with the world. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Even though you're trying to escape it.
Right. That's true.
Dope though. Dope. We looking at our rated list. All these anime are high as hell. Like we rated shit high.
I think it's because we don't rate stuff we really don't like though.
That's a good point.
And the one show we rate that we knew we weren't gonna like, we literally made it its own scale.
True. All right. Let's swing into My Hero. The festival arc is essentially over. It's done. Oh, this is the part of the show where we talk about My Hero. We spoil the most recent episode of a show that we're currently watching together, and it's My Hero this time. So we're going to spoil all of My Hero most recent episodes. So if you haven't seen it, turn the podcast off. Thanks for listening for this long. You're awesome. Check out teespring.com/stores/mycheckwaifu to get some of this merch. I know it's kind of like a deep recession going on right now, so whatever you can do, we greatly appreciate it. But if not, we understand as well. So, Tell, what did you think about this Tajay, what did you think about this most recent episode? Because Tell already know about this because he reads the manga, which makes this no fun. But
that's not true.
I'm gonna go with it anyway. So this most recent episode was great. It was the best feel-good episode of the series so far, in my opinion. I still love Drip Criminal. He's fantastic. He's literally the best part of the season.
Yeah, Uncle Drip was dope.
Yeah, straight up. La Brava she's incredible. I just love her little character too. But Ari, seeing her smile when they were doing that performance,
bro,
dropped my heart.
This episode almost made me cry.
Straight up, dude. I was so happy.
Now, you can say whatever you want about me reading the manga, but these are the episodes you read the manga, right? Mm-hmm. Because this episode here, the manga couldn't touch, right? Like the action in the manga is amazing. These are the moments you can't ask for in manga because it doesn't mean shit. Yeah. Like you don't hear the music, you don't feel the impact. Like the song was in English, you get to see these motions and these things happen brilliantly for the anime, and it's like you just felt it so deeply because of the sound and the motion and the characters smiling and everything. Say what you want, this shit was fire. This to me was probably one of the most impactful episodes of the anime in general. Yeah. Like I actually would put this if you had to rate the actual episodes, in my opinion, Todoroki versus Deku, number 1, and this episode is number 2. Like my two favorite episodes right there.
Yeah. It was great. It was fucking great. I can't stress enough how much of an impact Drip Senior had. Like it's crazy because it wasn't that much development with him. They had some, but it wasn't enough. Like Overhaul had more, but he was still so much more impactful for me in this entire season than Overhaul was. That's actually befuddling me. Like,
it shouldn't though. You shouldn't be, because Overhaul was legitimately a villain, whereas Gentle Criminal wasn't really a villain. Like he was doing bad things, but he was more like Robin Hood. Like people would be salty if Robin Hood got killed or was arrested. Yeah, you know,
Overhaul 2 was also his villainism, I guess, if for lack of a better word. His villainism felt like it could be right.
Understandable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think here's the separation though, right? Is like Hero Killer Stain was a hero killer because he didn't think heroes were being true heroes. They were doing it for fame, right? Yeah. So that's why people still to this day say Hero Killer Stain is the best villain in My Hero, even if they've read the manga.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Gentle Criminal or, Drip Senior so amazing. Is not the fact that he is this this super passionate villain. It's the fact that his motivations seem so close to reality. The fact that him and Deku, like Deku's literally saying he could have been, Gentle Criminal if he would have never gotten a quirk. He would have wanted to have changed the world so bad that this would have been his step. Yeah. This is what he would have had to do. And that's what makes this so amazing, is because that's literally, it's relatable. Mm-hmm. If you and I, let's say you and I, for whatever reason, decided we weren't going to be high school graduates or we weren't going to be smart, right? Mm-hmm. It would have been easy for us to go out and start fights all the time and get a gun and do whatever we wanted to.
Easy.
It would have been super easy. And regardless of us feeling like whatever, we could have said the school system failed us because we are smart guys. Mm-hmm. We just use our intellect right now because we want to be a mob boss or we want to start a gang. That could have been us. But instead, we chose this route, and we are functioning people in society. Right. And it's not that Gentle Criminal isn't a functioning person in society. He is functioning. He's making a living. That's what makes him so relatable.
So good. He's so good. He saved the season for me, man. This season was on a downward spiral, and then it picked up briefly, extremely briefly, and then just fell right back off of a cliff. And it picked right back up again.
I was gonna say, you think this episode fell off a cliff?
No. It picked right back up on such a steep hill that it saved the season. Which every time we talk about a My Hero episode, it makes me want to. I take my consciousness out of my body, right? To be dramatic for a second, I take it out of my body and I go back and think, okay, so if I'm binging this episode, what do I think of this entire season as a whole? That's how I go about every time we do this discussion. I'm like, okay, I rewind, I go back, and if I'm binging it, if I'm binge watching it, it's still just decent. But when this part hits, it just gives me so much joy, which then make the overall show still enjoyable. I hope that makes sense. That probably didn't make sense, but
it makes sense to me, bro.
Screw it. It's 1:00 in the morning. Judge me not. I enjoyed it though, man. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot.
All right. So we're gonna do the recap.
Yeah. Let's do it.
First things first, before the recap, remember teespring.com, mic check waifu. Also support Loot Complex, even though they're gonna be closed for a little bit. Because it's not healthy out here.
Yeah, sure.
We just finished our My Hero talk. We also talked about how Promised Neverland brought up the coronavirus in their manga, which I recommend reading manga if you can. Our recommendations, Polo was quintessential quintuplets. Yeah. I had Kato the right answer. We had Demon Lord Retry, where Mic Check Waifu overall rated it 7.75.
Negative.
Darwin's game, negative 7.75, yes. Which means it's pretty trash. Where then we rated Darwin's game an 8.5, being a great show. It was honestly a great show. And then finally, Beastars, we rated an 8.85. Most of that score is because of me. I rated it high. So it might be in my top 5 now. I gotta see what I gotta take out of my top 5.
Might have to reevaluate that maybe next week.
But
great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we gotta officially do this topic, man.
Yeah, we gotta start putting it aside and do it. So yeah, we're gonna do that topic next week alongside maybe looking at our top 5 to start, just to kind of touch on it, just to touch on it. Because we're 40, it'll be 42 episodes in, but we're at 41 right now. This has been episode 41 of Mic Check Waifu. You can follow our social medias at Mic Check Waifu and at Mic Check Waifu. Wait. You can follow our social medias at Mic Check Waifu on Twitter and at Mic Check Waifu on Instagram. I'm at Polo Bornfly on all social media.
I'm at King Teliano on social media.
Go to MicCheckWaifuWaifu.com for all things Mic Check Waifu. And as always, Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
My sweet waifu.
Is that you?
When will I